So just give us a minute and we will be all set.
Oh, better do that.
Okay, we can get the show started since we have a half hour and we want to make the best of it. But welcome everyone to our Dear Neighbor series. I'm Kristen Whitney Daniels. I'm the Associate Director for the U.S. Federation of the Sisters of St. Joseph. And I'm so delighted to welcome everyone on this very special day. It's rare that we have a Dear Neighbor series coincide with our Founders Day. So I'm just delighted to be with everyone today. I do want to point out this very beautiful illustration that we have on the left-hand side. It's an illustration by Kathy Rooney from the Sisters of St. Joseph of Baden, who has graciously gifted this to the Federation and to all the congregations to use. It's a really beautiful image, I think, for today. So we ask that everybody remains muted for the duration. We will have some interactive time today as we talk about what comes after our celebration event. And if you need a transcription, there's a transcribe function on Zoom. But if we see any AI bots, I know there's some AI note-taking bots. We are booting them just for purposes of like making sure this meeting is a secure meeting. And as always, we get started with our consensus statement. Stimulated by the Holy Spirit of love and receptive to the Spirit's inspirations, we move always towards profound love of God and love of neighbor without distinction, from whom we do not separate ourselves, and for whom, in the following of Christ, we work in order to achieve unity of neighbor with neighbor and neighbor with God. In humility, the spirit of the incarnate word. In sincere charity, the manner of St. Joseph, whose name we bear. In an Ignatian Salesian climate, that is, with an orientation towards excellence, tempered by gentleness, peace, and joy. And usually around this time, we do a maxim, but I figured since today is a special day, we are going to do a little bit of an adapted version of a portrait of a daughter of St. Joseph, um, which is from Father Marius Knepper. And we're doing Portrait of a Child of St. Joseph. Eyes open to the world, both miserable and sinful, but a world worked on by the Holy Spirit. Eyes open and ears attentive to the sufferings of the world. Eyes open, ears attentive, and spirit alert. Never settled down, always in a holy disquietude, searching. In order to understand, to divine what God and the dear neighbor await from them today, now, for the body and for the soul. Eyes open, ears attentive, spirit alert, sleeves rolled up for ministry, without excluding the more humble, the less pleasing, the less noticeable. Finally, in their face, the reflection of a virtue proper to our congregation, continual joy of spirit. This is the quiet inner glow of the sister and partner whose life in the service of Jesus Christ has been successful. So this has been a really exciting year, our Jubilee year of 375 years, which we kicked off last year with our International Founders Day prayer service and really have just continued to grow in this spirit, this contemplation of what 375 years mean. I, with our celebration event, we had three words: celebrate, embrace, ignite. Celebrate the past, embrace the present, and ignite the future. And I think those words are really something that we continue at the Federation to contemplate, to discern what does that mean for us? And so we really want this to be an open dialogue between us at the Federation and with everyone here, because this includes all of us. We're building this future together. Taking a small look back at what we have done during our anniversary year. As I mentioned, we opened with an International Founders Day prayer service, and we sort of bookended it yesterday with our International Founders Day prayer service. We have it annually, and we had a very special prayer service last night. We really enjoy these prayer services. They are hosted by our Lifelong Transformation Committee because it really involves our global community. And we also did something really exciting for the 375th year, something that we've never really done before. It was really our first global collaboration. And you can see I was just in San Diego at the Academy of Our Lady of Peace. And it was actually the first time I got to see the logo really blown up in this way and in print. I've been working on it so much digitally that this is our global logo. We had it translated into, I believe it was 7 different languages: English, Arabic, French, Spanish, Portuguese, Italian, Japanese. So we did our usual 5 languages that we use for our UN. And then we wanted to really represent the more global focus and have Arabic and Japanese. We couldn't possibly have all the languages that our sisters speak, but we thought this was a pretty good representation of where our sisters minister across the world and our partners. And so it's been beautiful to see this logo used widely and shared widely. It's been used by all of our congregations across the world and has really united us together. I've seen, the logo popping up on Facebook, and I immediately know it's one of our congregations posting, and it's been really beautiful to have that cohesiveness. In addition to our International Founders Day prayer services, our Lifelong Transformation Committee also held 3 listening sessions, one in January, March, and May in 2025. Those were all held around, important dates to us. And it gave the Lifelong Transformation Committee a chance to hear what is bubbling up, what are people feeling, and really a chance to, again, celebrate, embrace, ignite. And then sort of our really big event, which I'm going to talk about a little bit, what happened and where do we see us going next, is in July 2025, we had our celebration in Kansas City. It was really a spectacular event, and we were so pleased to have so many people with us. So how many people did join and participate in the 375th celebration event? I can't really see everybody, but if you want to raise your hand, that's great. We had 381 people in person, which was really exciting. A very, very full ballroom, and a very full interwebs as well. Uh, every year or every time we hold our celebrations have looked a little different, and that reflects sort of these changing times. This year, 63% of our attendees were sisters and 37% were partners. We really, from the breakdown of our planning committee to our speakers, wanted representation from across the United States. And something I have been looking at and that I thought was really interesting is, where are our partners coming from? What sort of categories do they represent? And so you can kind of see a light breakdown. People identify in many different categories. So the numbers don't exactly align with how many partners we have, because people represent a variety of different identities. Myself, I'm a St. Joseph worker, but I'm also a staff member of the Federation. Uh, you can see the largest numbers are our partners in mission and our associates. That makes sense. Our associates are one of our largest numbers across the United States. And it makes sense that many people would be either associate or consociate, depending on our congregation. But our Partners in Mission also has the largest percentage. And what I love about Partner in Mission is that it's really an ambiguous category. It means that people are coming to us from all walks of life. Maybe the agrégé, the associate, the family of Joseph category doesn't fit their experience with the charism, but they still feel called to carry on this mission in companionship. We also had an increasing number of folks from our Association of Colleges of Sisters of St. Joseph, alumni from those colleges, and also from our high schools represented. We had three different universities, actually four different universities represented at the event. And we had students, many of students, especially our St. Joseph's University, from across the world who are attending that university, come to Kansas City and celebrate with us. These are also some celebration by the numbers. Like I said, we had 381 in-person participants, but we had at least 400 virtual participants from around the world. It's really hard to get an exact number on that because we had so many house parties. I was so heartened to see so many pictures from our mother houses, from some of our assisted living facilities, founding centers who all had these viewing parties in the US and in Canada join us. We wanted to make sure that the Federation wasn't just the folks who could be there in person. We know there's many things keeping folks from joining. We wanted to include everyone. And so that's been a really important part of any of our programming in the past and moving forward. It was also the first time that we offered virtual breakout rooms for folks who were participating as individuals. We heard loud and clear that people wanted to be a part of table conversations, so we offered that as an option for anyone who would like to join. Thanks to so many people's generosity, we were able to raise over $40,000 for scholarships, and 40 participants received scholarships to attend this event. And you can really see that in the breakdown of having our partners there, of those increasing numbers, the increasing diversity of folks who are attending. And we had 30 people participate in a dinner that was geared towards those in their 20s and 40s. There were a lot of competing dinners on Saturday night while we were in person, so it doesn't reflect all of our young adults, but it does show this growing number of folks. A big part of our Ignite presentation, which was our Justice Day on Sunday, was focusing on some of our priority areas. And we took a survey, which I'm going to talk about a little bit later because we still want your input. That's very much important to us. But these are some of the things that came up again and again in people's responses. You can see this is like a word cloud. So the bigger it is, the bolder it is, the more it was mentioned. You can see that advocacy, immigration, the environment are themes that continue to pop up. And so I'm going to pass it to Sister Bethany Welsh, our Justice Coordinator for the Federation, to talk a little bit more of these concrete next steps that we are planning.
Thanks, Kristen. Good to be with all of you today. On the screen are just three quick examples of things that you can continue to engage in as we move forward, claiming that fire that we need for the future that was ignited in so many ways at our founding 375 years ago and has continued with each new iteration of this charism. There's a couple pictures of this kaleidoscope of monarchs. So that's actually the term for a collection of butterflies, which is so lovely, a kaleidoscope. These butterflies, which many of you created prior to the Ignite event, and then we added to the collection at the Ignite Day. And then many of you have had actions within your own mother house or care facilities or at different universities. And you've been sending them in and we've been gathering them. And then I've been taking them on a journey. So I was in Buffalo, New York, visiting the congregation there. And you can see a picture of the JPIC team with some of the butterflies. Then they traveled with me to Canada, where I visited members of our Toronto community there. And I just took them to Mexico as part of a binational encuentro that was raising awareness with over 10 bishops, 25 priests from both sides of the US and Mexico border to raise awareness about the unjust detentions, deportations, and disappearances of so many of our migrant siblings. So we encourage you to keep sending those in to the Federation office, and we'll continue to add to them and to bring them to places, bringing that issue of migration front and center in our liturgies and our advocacy spaces. We have some opportunities for you to continue to be involved in different ways. We've done a series of workshops this fall with our justice promoters, and really anyone is welcome to build their skill set for the work of justice and peace. October 27th is about cultivating relationships with our elected officials. We know relationships are right at the heart of our charism of unity love. And what does that look like when we try to engage with those who have been elected on our behalf to represent us in our government structures? So we'll hear from some wonderful experts on the lobby side and government relations, as well as community organizers and folks on the ground. And then there's a vigil that's part of a national program to raise awareness that we are one church and one family, no matter what the border or someone's citizenship status. That's going to take place on the Feast of Mother Cabrini, November 13th. Some wonderful justice promoters on this call who are helping me organize that, as well as sisters and religious from other congregations. You can either scan the QR code here, or you can access our recent e-news, which will allow you to register for any of these activities. So again, just keep that fire going that we began so long ago and that continues through our Ignite celebration in Missouri and as we move forward into this new year.
Thanks so much, Bethany, for that. So now this is going to be some more of our interactive portion. We are trying something a little bit new. We haven't done this before in our Dear Neighbor series, so please bear with us if there's any technical difficulties. But I and the Federation want to know, what do you want to see next? So we're going to be asking you 2 questions. You'll see that there is a QR code right here. If you have your phone handy and available, you can scan it. The link is also going to be put in the chat. And also, if you don't want to do any of that, you could also put it in the chat or direct message one of us, and we will keep these answers so we can go back to it. We're going to have a nice planning session, all of the Federation staff in one location in December, where we're really going to go through this information and decide what we are going to see for year 376. So I'm going to switch over to this other program. It's called Menti. Okay. Here we go. So how often do you think the Federation should gather nationally? This is a huge question that we want to know what you think. And this is what we're thinking in person. These are very large events. I know we all love being in person together. You can slide it. You'll see once a year, and then we have every 5 years. Every 5 years is what we used to do. But you may know that we met in 2022 this last time, and then met again in 2025. So that was 3 years. This is without, thinking about resources, thinking about some of those other things that we have to take into consideration. But ideally, what would you like? So feel free to keep putting in your answers either in the chat or on this website. And then the important thing that I want to capture is moving into year 376. What do you want to see from the Federation next? This could be something like our justice presentations from Ignite. It could be something you want to see cracked open that was brought up with one of our amazing speeches and keynotes that we had. We had Sister Elizabeth Johnson, who talked about our communion with ecology and with animals, amphibians. She brought up everything. Do you want to see more of that? We had these wonderful lunch breakout sessions where we talked about things like the Ignatian Silesian climate, tending the flame, which is our group for those who are recently professed. We talked about synodality. Do you want to see that cracked open more? And we also talked a lot about education, our ACSSJ and our schools and the connection there. So please feel free to send in those answers and keep them coming. I'm going to stop talking for a little bit so that you can think of the answers. You'll see them pop up here. They're anonymous for everyone to see, but we really want to hear from you. These are really, really great answers. We're going to have them noted. We have our every 3 years folks seems to be one of the commonalities. Regional gatherings around topics, immigration. I'm noticing continues to be a theme that I think is very, very dear to all of us. And working together is another theme that I continue to see. I am going to stop sharing this screen for now. But I just want everyone to know that you can continue to put in your answers there. If there's any issues with that, we have our chat and you can always reach out to us. And I'm going to give you one more way to continue to give us feedback. But this one actually comes with enticement, which we love a good prize, right? Okay. So some folks may know that we have had a survey of people who have participated in the 375th. That could be virtually, that could be in person, however you met the moment, you can respond to this survey. We have the QR code here, again, if you want to use your phone to do that, or we have the link in the chat. One of the exciting things is that we are offering 3 $25 Bonfire gift cards. And Bonfire is this merch website that you can use. We have a lot of Federation merch. We have stuff for the 375th celebration event, but we also have stuff for our anniversary and the Federation in general. We have really cool stuff on there. So technically, I was going to close this today, but I really want to give folks a chance to respond to this because as you can see, we are going through every single response. I read every single word that folks have sent in, have really taken that in. I'm listening. We want to know how we can improve this event in the future, as well as continuing to offer meaningful places to convene under our Federation umbrella. If somebody can just throw the link into the chat real quick for that. If not, I can do it at the end. Shirley, I see your comment. And because we are almost at time here, I also want to mention about our next Dear Neighbor series. So you heard Bethany talk today, and you can hear from her directly next time on Wednesday, November 19th. If this is your first Dear Neighbor series, we meet on the third Wednesday of every month. We call it our little bite-sized way to talk to the Federation, for the Federation to share what's happening and for you to talk to us. Know who's behind the screen, behind the emails, behind the e-news, and get to know us. So you can get to know Bethany a little bit more. And because these are ever-changing times with justice stuff, it's going to be, we'll hear from her more about what's happening and stay up to date on that. So I am going to stop sharing so I can see everyone's faces, and I don't have to look at the screen as much. But thank you, everyone. Wishing everyone a very, very happy Founders Day and celebration, and thinking about what year number 376 may bring all of us. Feel free to come off mute to say hello, and we'll be in touch, everyone. Thank you.
Thanks all.
Thank you. Appreciate everything.
Thanks for being here.
Happy Founders Day. Thank you.
Happy Founders Day.
Keep up the great work.
Thanks, Joan.